Pauper fans, Bryant Cook, and once again, I am playing my favorite Pauper deck, Storm. And in front of you is what I've been tweaking the last few weeks. Not running Crumbling Vestige, but instead running Ash Barrens. And this mana base has performed so well that I think I'm going to keep on testing it after this league. So I've played this mana base in probably like 10, 15 leagues now, and I just love it. So you consistently get your blue source for Mystical Teachings, Tolarian Winds, and Dihada's Ploy, which means that you can actually just cast Teachings on your opponent's end step by tapping 4 mana, going to get your card, and then winning the game on your turn. It's been really nice being able to do that, but also casting sideboard cards like Dispel or Shredded Sails, getting the Mountain, all this good stuff, without having to sacrifice your lands, and that's the big thing. And you get the velocity of just having 8 main deck untapped lands, churn through your deck very quickly, and then win on turn 3 or turn 4. So it also thins your deck on the combo turn. While you do have 12 lands, Ash Barrens removes the lands from the deck, so maybe you'll only have somewhere between like 6 and 7 lands by the time you win. So I've liked it quite a bit now. I was testing 3 copies of Lotus Petal, and with the 4th slot being Blood Celebrant, which is a card I've fallen in love with recently. Shout outs to a member in our Discord, Blurred Boundaries, for the suggestion. It's been amazing. I thought the card was kind of stinky, and then I tried it and was just blown away my expectations. I've already said that once now, but wow, the card is so good. But I've added the 4th petal back in over the 4th copy of Architects of Will. I was just missing the mana fixing a little bit, even with Blood Celebrant, and as broken as Celebrant is, I think I like the Lotus Petal instead of the extra cycler. So you could probably switch that back and forth, but I think 4 petal is probably correct. And Celebrant is a super Lotus Petal. So the idea to play Celebrant came from a previous list where I was testing out main deck stripped Riverwinder with sideboard Exhumes. I actually didn't like that plan very much. I just never felt right to me. But Celebrant was there to convert black mana to blue mana so you could easily cycle your stripped Riverwinder. But instead, what I found was it makes it so you can cast Drannith Healer against red decks and just gain a bunch of life. Or you can just play 4 Healer or 4 Stinger all at once at the end of the game and just kill your opponent quickly. Creates blue mana for Mystical Teachings, Winds, and Ploy. The card is just nuts. I've really, really liked Blood Celebrant, and I recommend that you try it out because you might think I'm like making this up. I'm not. The card is amazing, and you're going to see it in this league. Wow, the card is just nuts. So definitely check that out. Drannith Healer, 1 Tolarian Winds and 1 Ploy. This is a recent change I've made, and it's because Ploy gains life, and it doesn't force you to go all in. Anytime you draw 2 Tolarian Winds, it's bad. That is not the case when you run one of Ploy. So it gains life, so that way you can keep on cycling street rates over and over. So mid-combo, you can gain 30 life, cycle rates, Reaping the Grave, cycle more rates. Like, you just never run out of life to cycle them. But it also gives you a bunch of life for the Blood Celebrant. So this card is really good, but also like the glue of the deck. And I've just been liking the card. It's not as nuts as you would think it is regarding life gain. A lot of people look at it and go, oh, well, you just like discard 12 cards a turn, whatever. This card is bananas. So it can be. Like, I've gained 40 life off it before. But most of the time you're gaining anywhere between 10 and 12, and that's just fine. I've liked it in that role. Just don't expect it to be lights out. Expect it to be good. Like, against a burn deck, it's going to be, you know, decent, but it's never just going to close the door. I gained 60 pass. So you have to keep your expectations reasonable for a card like that. And then obviously Cabal Ritual, Stinger, Reaping the Graves, core of the deck, Mystical Teachings. I've played so many lists over the last month, and some of them didn't include Teachings, and I just regretted it every time. I think that the card's just required if you want to be playing Cycle Storm. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Architects of Will, all these cards. And when I was playing Stripped Riverwinder, I was running them over the Architect slot with Exhume in the board. And why I moved away from that plan, on top of being clunky in the main deck because mid-combo, sometimes you just can't cycle the Riverwinders because they cycle for a blue, is that when you do Exhume them into play, the black Dimir Fairies decks, they have Rose of the Blackthorn, they have Chainer's Edict. It's not as good as you think it is. And then on top of that, assuming that you don't have those, they have Gerbag Angler. So, like, what is that card actually doing? Your 5/5 trades with their 5/5 or their Death Toucher, or they have Chainer's Edict. Against the blue-red version, it is better. Admittedly, it's a lot better there. But I've lost games where they've just raced it. Like, they play a chump blocker every turn, double bolt me, and I'm dead. So I've had that happen to me, and that actually felt kind of bad. And then against Tron can just, like, flicker their creatures a bunch. They never die. They get a bunch of blockers. Eventually, they have Dignitary. So I just haven't liked the Exhume plan recently. So I'm just not playing it tonight. And if you like the Exhume plan, keep playing it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just I've decided I'm going to move past it and try other things. So I've covered the main deck and the board. Dispel and Pyroblast. These two Duress are open slots to me, if I'm being completely honest. I don't like boarding them in against a lot of the blue decks. They're a lot better against Tron, where you can hit crop rotation or weather the storm. But against fairies, they just go, okay, resolves. I haven't invested my 2 mana, and then they still have a counter spell. So I haven't been loving Duress. But instead, I really like the idea of playing Dispel and Pyroblast. They have to invest mana, and then you counter it and kill them pretty easily. So they're for different roles. Duress can come in versus something like Affinity or the Combo Mirror with Dispel. So like these two come in all at once, or Pyroblast and Duress. You really don't want to board all 6 because you're going to dilute your deck that way. So it's really pairing. But Dispel's probably the best out of the 3 of these. And then you just want to pair it with Duress or pair it with Pyroblast. That would be my recommendation. Very Macabre. This is mostly for Mogwarts. I don't even know if I would board it in the mirror. I guess you could, but it's mostly for Mogwarts, so you can stop them from killing you. And assuming that it's a dead card, you can just discard it and then make your songs make more mana. And you can also return it with Reap in the Graves if you need to. It allows you to be a little bit faster. I think it's pretty good. And one nice thing about it is you don't have to invest mana into it, and on top of that, they'll never know about it. But even if they do, Duress can't discard Fairy Macabre, which is a big benefit of it, because that's the discard that they play. And then if they're not playing discard against you, they're holding up Pyroblast, and it can't be hit by Pyroblast either. So Fairy Macabre is just really, really insane in that matchup. So that's why I'm running 3 copies of Fairy Macabre. Clearing Pain, obviously, for Prismatic Strands at this point, you're kind of just like priced into running it, but it's not even that bad. That's all I have to say about that card. Shredded Sails. I talked about this a little bit when I was talking about the mana base, but you can actually just cast it off of your mountain, and that's what makes it so good. So you don't have to sacrifice your Sulfur Vent or a Lotus Petal to cast it. You can just tap 2 lands, blow up Relic on the end step, untap, kill them dead. So I really like Shredded Sails when you're able to do that. And you can also get it with Mystical Teachings if you need to. So now with this deck, you can tap 4 lands, get Teachings, get your Shredded Sails, kill it, and then start your cycling or whatever. And you have 13 lands, so it's not unreasonable. It really opens up some design space and some play space for you. And then Ploy. So Ploy, as I mentioned, is sort of just like, it's an average card. It's going to gain 10 life, 12 life, whatever. But you do get to use every copy twice against burn, so every copy represents, a bunch of life. So effectively, you have 6 copies of your weather slots, but it's not really as impactful as Weather the Storm, but it's on color, and it doesn't stop you from comboing, which I think is the real benefit of playing Ploy over a green splash. Because if you want to play Weather, you do have to play a forest, and then you're running 2 lands in your sideboard, which is a little bit stinky. Yeah, so I don't love it, but with Ploy, it doesn't stop you from winning, and that's the big idea here. So when you draw Weather, sometimes you would just fizzle because it wasn't an action spell or a cycler. That never happens with Ploy, and it's just really smooth. So if you're going to board it in against Burn, I'd say you probably board out like Tolarian Winds and then a cycler, and just move on with your day, keep moving along. Yeah, I'm rambling at this point, so I'm going to stop talking. But that's the deck tech. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did enjoy it, like, comment, subscribe. We hit 5,000 subscribers today. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I do appreciate it. We hit our monthly goal, but I am still going for 6,000 by 2022. So if you are watching this and you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Help me hit my goals. I would greatly appreciate it. That was a goal I set back way in December, so I didn't think it was reasonable. That was triple the amount of subscribers we had at the time. I was under 2,000, and I was like, okay, I want to hit 6,000 this year. I can't believe we're actually going to hit it. I mean, I have to hit another 1,000 people in the next 3.5 months, but that's doable. So if you wouldn't mind subscribing, thank you. But if you're already subscribed, like and comment, get us into the algorithm, help more people find out about my favorite combo deck, Cycling Storm. It'd just be a great thing for you to do. And if you want to go to the next level, we do offer memberships where we offer things like sideboard guides, emotes, badges, 50% off donation decks, full donation decks. So definitely check out our memberships. That button is right next to the subscribe button and it says join. Click it. And then we have donation decks. So you can submit your combo deck to be featured here on this very YouTube channel at theepicstorm.com/donation decks. Pick your tier and sign up. With our Epic tier, you can actually join me in the video. So if you want to talk through your creation with the fans, you can do that. Then we have theepicstorm.com/shop, where we have tons of card singles and sweet Storm merchandise like baseball tees, pint glasses, play mats, stickers, and our very new token pack, where you can keep track of your Storm super easily. You get 10 black, 10 blue, 10 red, 5 green, 5 white, 3 colorless, and 20 Storm. So you can count all the way up to Grape Shot. It's fantastic, and it's built with ease in mind. So everything is, making your life easier. A Galvanic Relay Exile token for Legacy, but also Pauper. And then treasure tokens for Strike It Rich. And for our Vintage friends, if you like Vintage, I do. Monastery Mentor, we have your back with some Monk tokens. And then for our Modern Stormers, Eve Progenitor Ooze tokens, Slime Time Live, Power Toughness is already built in. Like I said, we wanted to make your life easy. Definitely go check out this token pack. And then 2 cards that are banned in Pauper: Chatterstorm versus Empty the Warrens, Squirrels versus Goblins. 20 of each. That's what you get. 20 of each. 5 different designs. They're all great. Definitely go check those out. It is $13 and you get 128 tokens, 64 double-sided tokens. That's my intro. I hope you liked it. This deck list is so sweet. I'd expect to do well today, but who knows? I'll see you in match number 1. Don't go anywhere. Welcome to round number 1. We are on the draw against Spartano, and we are going to keep this hand. Land and Cyclers. It's great. I am a little bit bummed that our land is Barrenmore, so it's going to be coming into play tapped. And this is likely Bogles. Taps for white, so definitely Bogles. Alright, so I think I'm going to cycle the Street Wraith just in case we hit an untapped land. And if not, we play the Barrenmore. Alright, Reaping isn't a bad draw, but it's not exactly what we need. Forest from the opponent. Another Sprawl. Okay, so 3 mana. There's a Ledgewalker. Okay, so not the fastest draw for our opponent here. So a choice we have is we could Ritual into triple cycle, or we can just cycle 1 and hope to hit a land. Because we'll have to discard, I'm actually just going to burn the Ritual and get a triple cycle. And by doing this, I understand that I have less Storm for the Reaping the Graves, but I'm hoping that I just draw into good cards off the Cyclers, and that's not going to matter because we've increased our speed. Alright, Cycle Horror, Reaping, okay. Songs is fine. Land? Oh, land. Alright. 5 cards in graveyard, so we're still a few away from Threshold. Another Ledgewalker. Really? No pump spell here, okay. Well, I do love me a Blood Celebrant, but it's not the time to cast that. Let's just try to draw a land. There we go. I'm just going to be lazy and cycle now. Boom! And a Dark Ritual. Love it. we likely have a win on our next. Okay. And as I mentioned in the intro, Blood Celebrant is replacing one of the Architects of Will. I've been a really big fan of it so far. Another Reaping the Great. Wow. I think I'm just going to start on cycling the Stinger. The 4th copy. Alright. Let's go. Party time. Songs of the Damned. We're going to cast Blood Celebrant for Storm here. And then let's return some Stingers. So Stinger, Street Wraith, or then we can play our Stingers. It's going to eat up 6 mana if we play all of them. Is that something I'm okay with? I think so. Alright. Some of you are probably watching this going like, what is he doing? It's so dumb. I just feel like our opponent's not pressuring us that much. I can get away with this. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, cycle Street Wraith and go to 10. And our opponent has just conceded. Wow. Alright. Wasn't quite expecting that. But, sure. Do I want to bring in Ploys against Bogles? Ploy is taking the weather spot, and it's been good for me. I don't know if this is really a matchup where we want Ploy. It might be. Probably board in 1 over the Winds. Winds is better for just like doing your thing. I think I'm actually just going. I think our deck list is fine as. You could board in Duress as well if you wanted to potentially hit their like dispel that some lists play, but I don't think that's right. I think our main deck is already set up for the Bogles matchup. I'm a little bit nervous right now, if I'm being honest. This is the first league I've recorded with a window open in a very long time. I do have a noise gate on my mic now, and I haven't had that in the past, but if you're hearing a lot of like crickets and stuff, feel free to let me know in the comments. Don't make it up, though. No one likes somebody who lies. Alright, this hand seems... We'll keep this. I had to work fairly late tonight, and because I didn't publish a video today, I'm trying to record one for tomorrow. And I am already, ready for bed, but I decided to start recording. So hopefully you appreciate the cycles from Ken. Ash Barrens was a fine draw here, but we don't really want to find any more land if we can help. There's the Scout, the Ethereal Armor. Much better start for the opponent than the last game. Around 2 cards, though. I like the Songs draw. Right? Cycle a few Stingers. We've played our land, so I don't really feel pressured to cycle these Street Wraiths. 1 mana. 4, okay. That will knock us to 14. Alright, so our opponent's telling us that they want to murder me. So I think we should probably try to win the game. Healer was a good draw. Just going to play the Baron. And let's start off on cycling these Street Wraiths. Let's get a little bit more info. Ball Ritual was a good one. I think we can cycle the healer. Ooh, I really like the song draw. That was fantastic. Okay. 6. I don't think there's a real good way of keeping the red available off pedal here. So I'm going to sack the pedal and keep the blue open for teachings. Like a ball writ, and then cycle these creatures to improve our songs. I've already played a land, so no point in cycling. Ball writ was a great draw. Okay, so I can play one of these at the bare minimum. And then cast teachings. We'll get Reaping the Graves. How many creatures do we have? 8. So I guess I should play songs here just so that we can get more creatures back. So this is going to leave 1 creature in the graveyard. And that creature should be a Street Wraith because we can't cycle 2 Wraiths here. Okay, so let's see what this Reaping the Graves can do. We do have 14 mana floating, so in theory, we could always flash back this Mystical Teachings at some point. Cycle the Street Wraith, why not? Cycle Healer. Ploy doesn't really help us. Reaping the Graves, that's good. Celebrant at 1. Not quite good enough here. Maybe if we find a Petal or something. Alright, so if I want to flashback Teachings, it's not going to make much mana. We have 1 Street Wraith up there, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I can cycle the Stinger. That doesn't cost me any other Teachings. So I believe songs would now make 9 mana. So if I want to flashback Teachings, I can go get songs, but it's not actually going to help us get much further. And then we have less mana to win with. So I'm not sure if I'm supposed to take that line or not. I think it might honestly be better to just keep cycling. Okay, that wasn't great. So now I'm out of cyclers in hand. I need to cycle the Baron more. Or I can Reaping the Graves, leaving 3 floating. I don't love that, so I'm going to cycle the Baron more. Darkret. That leaves me 1 short of Mystical Teachings for the song. So a Barret or a Darkret here. Protect, okay. There's songs. Okay, still no Lotus Petal. Petal would actually be quite good for us, because then I could play this Ploy and easily win. So we are not guaranteed to win right now. 11 mana isn't that much. We don't have any colored mana either. So let's start off by cycling. He's hoping to hit some more mana. Another Reaping isn't bad, but we need mana. 20 cards left in deck. Another Reaping. Swamp. Cycle 6 mana floating. Getting a little bit nervous here. We have a lot of Dark Rituals and Cabal Rituals that we just have not drawn. Okay, 4 mana floating. There's a Petal. So I can play Ploy here, but it's going to gain a bunch of life. But we're likely not going to win here unless I draw like Darkret, Cabalret off it, or maybe the last songs. I can also just cycle once more. That way I gain 1 more life off it and then try to go off next turn. That might be better. Cycle here. Cast Ploy. Get Lotus Petal. One of these Ash Barrens. Alright, so we're at 29 now. Got the Petal, why not? And I think we just pass. For a few lands. Maybe some creatures. I want to keep the Wraiths because they cycle for free. We're at 29. And that's one of the nice things about main deck Ploy is it just does gain a bunch of life. Vogel, okay. We have 1 songs that we can win with left in the deck. We need to make that really, really count. Okay, cycle these Street Wraiths. There it is. It's going to make 16 mana. 17, 18. And the colored mana doesn't really matter here because we have Blood Celebrant now. I'm going to cast this song and cast Teach. I'm just trying to increase Storm here. Get Cabal Ritual. Let's cast this. Get back some Stingers. This should be a pretty easy one now. Not a lot of Storm, but that doesn't matter when you're able to just cast all of your cards. Alright. I can't help but always think of the It's Always Sunny meme whenever you have all 4 Stingers in play. I just think of like Danny DeVito, but anyway, and then I started blasting. So I definitely should get a Stinger emote for the channel because that's what I always think of. 4 Stingers just plowing away. But got a little bit lucky. Ploy really saved our buns here, and we won match number 1. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I'll see you in match number 2. Welcome back. I'm sure you went somewhere and came back in between last match and this one. And we've opened up a decent hand. I'm not going to say it's stellar. But we do have the Songs of the Dam, some Cyclers, land. It's a keep. If you're shipping these hands, I don't know why you're playing back. Alright. Swamp go. Mountain. Are you burn or are you something else? Something I've actually been wanting to try is the triple ploy plan against burn. This is my first time. I've been on the ploys for a while now, but I haven't been getting paired into burn. So I haven't been able to see if the extra ploys are good enough or if you should be running weathers. Because ploy, as you saw in match number 1, can gain a bunch of life, but is it fast enough versus burn? Okay. Just keep cycling. Looking for land 2. Looks like no luck for me. On the main deck ploy, but no land. Mountain. Right, so I don't know what they were holding up from one, maybe a bolt. They are burned. There's our land. I'm gonna cycle Stinger here. Maybe keep the healer around. 6 cards in our graveyard, so if he wanted to next turn, Cabal Ritual would have Threshold. Auto yield to that. We're gonna be at 15. Cycle. I almost want to hold on to that. Yeah, I think I'm going to. Okay, 14. Are you going to kill me from 14? 6 cards in hand, it's certainly possible. Tapping to what 4? Looks like I'm dead. Okay. Interesting that that was their line. Okay. Cycle Stinger. I go to 8. Draw. Alright, it's go time. We do have this ploy to gain life, but I need to find a blue source. Either Lotus Petal or Ash Barrens to get the island. Yikes, that Street Wraith is very risky. Cycle Healer. Uh-oh. Alright, Street Wraith. Sorry, I don't want to use you, but it looks like I had to. There's Ash Barrens, okay. That island. Dark Ritual. I don't think I have the guts to ploy again. Or to cycle Street Wraith. They are F6, but I could just die to Pyroblast. I'm just gonna cast it. Okay, so I can get rid of the swamp and keep on trying to win here. Or I could get rid of the teachings. And then I have the teachings to flashback for another songs. I think I like that. Okay. So Ploy was very good right there, in case you missed that. Cycle this dino. Who doesn't love just cycling dinos, right? Blood Celebrant. Gonna make blue mana here, so you can flashback this Ploy. It's gonna leave me with 7 mana, which is enough to songs. Okay, and now we teachings for songs. 15 mana. And hopefully this Reaping the Graves is good enough to win. Woot woot. Stinger, 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 Healer, Healer. Okay. I guess I probably could have gotten back a couple street rates in there. Stinger, Stinger, Stinger. And if you wanted to, you could cast the healers, but I think that's a little bit overkill. And that's a win. It's not deterministic. I could only deal them 18, but if I had gotten back at least one Street Wraith, it would have been deterministic. Kind of my own fault, but our opponent conceded anyway. Let's take a look and see what would have happened. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this songs would have won it. Alright, let's get back these ploys. And as you saw, Ploy was really good right there, so I'm not completely convinced that you need to play green anymore with how good Ploy has been. And then I think now what I'm doing, and I don't have the like definitive game plans, but I like boarding out 1 Street Wraith and keeping 3 because these do feed Ploy, and this is still your best card to cycle a majority of the time. So I think that's my plan. I don't know about this one. I think I'm going to ship that. This is solid. Get rid of the Baron more? You get rid of Cabal Ritual. I think it's Cabal Ritual. Okay, so 1 drop, Suspend Rift Bolt. Okay. Play Baronmore pass. This hand might be too slow on the draw, but we'll find out. And there's their Alchemist. For Baronmore pass. So this way, next turn we can have Ploy up. Okay. I'm gonna auto yield to this just to make life easier. Okay, so the Needle Drop essentially deals 2 damage. Another Needle Drop. Draw a card. Okay, a 12. Yep. So I am very likely dead on my opponent's next turn. They have 3 cards left. Cycle this for another Ploy, okay. So this is only going to gain 1 life right now, because we don't have any cyclers. Admittedly, this is a spot where weather would be better. That said, when you're comboing off and you draw a bunch of weathers, it's a little bit awkward when you're mid-combo. Okay, so Marauders. I'm at 7. I have 2 cards left. Am I dead? Boy? Interesting. Oh. I don't know what the right choice is here. Probably Street Wraith. So far away from winning. Draw. Okay, let's cast this Dark Rat and cycle. You can always just like do a value ploy too. Using this ploy because we'll actually gain 1 more. Cycle. We have 2 cards in hand. I can cycle this, and this counts as discarding. So this will gain 4 life up to 11. Question is, what do I discard? Is it this ploy or is it the swamp? I think it's the swamp. Alright, so we're at 12. They're gonna be able to attack once with this Marauders. So the Marauders represents 4 damage. And then the Alchemist is 5. They have 3 cards in hand. We could be dead again. But I think if our opponent had lethal, I probably would have died last turn. So that could put me to 7. I don't know how I feel about cycling. Do it. I feel like burn players are going to get aggressive, and then I can just ploy and respond. Okay. Only for 3. Maybe I should have cast ploy. Or this mystical teachings. I feel like I probably punted that. This cannot get another blue source. Cycle. 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 I'm just going to cast this and hope that I don't die. Do I get punished for cycling Street Wraith? I do not! Alright, 16 life. And Ploy's been really doing work this match. Alright, so now the Marauders dies. Notice how the Ploy also fixes our hand while keeping us alive. If these were weather, we'd probably be at like 40-something life and having plenty of time. But they do slow you down. They don't allow you to win as well, which is just like one of the downsides in my opinion. Okay. I'm just going to flashback the... By flashback, I mean jumpstart this Ploy. In life. It's been pretty cozy at the moment. 26 cards left. Let me know what you think so far about what you think of Ploy against Burn. Like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I haven't actually gotten to test it a lot against Burn. So far, this match, it seemed good, but I also feel like our opponent's getting a little bit unlucky. Like, by the looks of it, they've drawn a lot of lands, so tough to say. I think it's probably just go time. Cycle the Stinger. Wraith. Stinger. Hey, I know you. Play this Blood Celebrant. Blood Celebrant has just been like one of my favorite cards since I've added it. It's just so powerful. Cast Teachings. Go get Songs, and then we can flashback Teachings to go get another Reaping the Graves. And it's just going to be right. So let's return some creatures. Okay. Ploy was one of those cards that when Modern Horizons came out, everyone was sort of down on it that played this deck, including myself. And then I decided to just try it with all the stuff I was testing. And it's definitely being slept on, in my opinion. It might not be perfect, but the card's playable. At least in the main deck. You could always run Weathers on the board if you want. Let's just start cycling. There's Stinger. I'd love to cast you. I just have it from here. Sure. The Reaping the Graves. Cycle the Dino. Alright, they're going to concede. A lot of people conceding tonight, not letting me go through it. But we're 2-0. I'm not going to complain about that. I got to learn something this match. That Ploy's at least playable against Burn, despite our opponent not really having great starts. But it has some legs. That's what I'm trying to say here. But I'm always interested to know what you think. Hopefully you've enjoyed it so far. I'll see you in match number 3. Okay, the 3rd round. Let's get it. Deep. This hand is fantastic. Probably the best hand we've opened up. Alright, we're going to lead off on Barrenmore. Then pass. What are you playing, opponent? Okay. Upkeep, let's cycle this Ash Barrens. Go get our island. Nice. I'm just going to pass. Cycle on their end step. Maybe they don't know that we're on Cycle Storm, and they respect me more than they should. There's the Atog, threatening a turn 3 kill. Another Street Wraith. Am I going for it here? A cycle. 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 5 cards. Am I supposed to really burn here? Alright. We're going for it. Street Wraith number 4, sure. That's this Colret. Okay, so if I play Tolarian Winds into Graves, that's from 4. We do have 4 creatures to return, so I shouldn't cycle anymore. Full control. Let's return some stuff. So I could cycle these Wraiths to get deeper. I do have some concerns about that. So if I draw another Reaping the Graves, it's bad, or even Songs. I guess maybe Songs wouldn't be as bad, because I could cast it and then keep cycling. Reaping the Graves would be the card I wouldn't want. Cool. Before. Okay, well, those are cards I wouldn't have wanted to draw, so that's fine. Tolarian Winds for 7. Alright, no Songs. Horror. Gonna have to get a little bit lucky here. Cycle. Wrong black card. Cycle. Ooh, and now we're just dead to Atog. We're like halfway through my deck. We did find one songs in the top half. Maybe I was giving them too much respect. Kind of a bummer. Now they just kill me. Ouch. Alright. I do like Ploy over Winds in this matchup because sometimes they'll sack their board to Fling and then you just Ploy and gain. So I like making that swap. Otherwise, I think I like leaving it. You could board in Duress for like Dispel or something. If you do that, I think you have to take out Cyclers. It does hit Fling, so it's not the worst. So you could do something like this. And if you have Duress, you don't have to worry about just getting Goldfished on turn 3, which normally I don't think I would have gone for it there, but just like the threat of Atog, it really does put a pressure on the opponent. And I can't keep quadruple Reaping Graves, unfortunately. Killing me, Doc. Killing me. I think I keep this and bottom Duress and Lotus Petal. I'm gonna have to get kind of lucky to win this. Cycle Street Wraith, see if we draw a land. The other Duress. I don't know. I feel like you could hold the Ash Barrens there, but if I draw a Cycler and then hit another land drop, it probably doesn't matter. Okay, Lotus Petal, not really the draw we were looking for. Tog again. Cool. I'm not going to sack the Lotus Petal to cast Dress. If they Goldfish me, they Goldfish me. Chrome Star. And hit a land. Deadly Dispute. So our opponent now is representing 10 damage with the artifacts, 12 damage. They're one artifact, two, hold on, 7. We have 15 damage right now, so one artifact kills me, or just that Gav Blast. Kind of a bummer. Atog's real good. Yep. Now they just sack their board. Sort of a bummer of a match here. We probably couldn't have gone off next turn anyway. Oh well, 2-1. Match 4, and we are on the play. This is probably... Wouldn't mind hitting a land before I play this Ash Barrens out the Street Wraith, but even if we do have to play it, we do have colorless Cyclers. Not the end of the world. Cycle Street Wraith. Beautiful. I'm gonna be lazy. Okay. And we're facing a Fairies deck most likely. One thing I do like about playing this mana base is that you can just tap 4 lands and cast Teachings on their end step. Okay. 2 cards on top with Preordain. Cycle. No land. Cycle. Again. 6 cards in graveyard, 1 short of Threshold, but we could sack the petals and get Threshold, so it's world. Okay, opponent respecting us not tapping out. So something I could do is just cast Tolarian Winds on their end step. I don't think I want to do it. So if it's untapped land, they could ninjutsu the spell stutter. If they do it. They do not. Okay. Augur Bola. So they likely only have one counterspell up this turn. Up a brainstorm with Augur. Part of me wants to cast Tolarian Winds here. It's just very risky. Like, is this hand even good? So, assuming next turn we cast both Cabal Rituals, they both resolve. Then we play Teachings, and they let it resolve for some reason, hypothetically. So we'd have 5, 8, 9 mana, 5 mana. We'd have 2 mana post Reaping the Graves, not counting the petals. I guess they would probably try to counter Tolarian Winds. Okay, I think I'm going to try to cast Winds here. They spell pierce it. Okay. So there's a chance that they still have to spell up. Valrit? I guess they could have a second copy of Spell Pierce. Pretty unlikely. Cycle this horror, see if we can get dead. Cycle again. Alright, I wasn't planning on this. This is actually kind of risky. Because if I don't hit off this draw, we're just down a bunch of mana. How many creatures do we have in the graveyard? I don't know. We should probably play out Lotus Petals. Avoid getting hit by Spell Pierce. We have a lot of creatures in there. I just don't know if it's enough. 10. So if I get Songs of the Damned here, and then Flashback Teachings, I guess it would be like having a little bit of extra mana. If I go up to 11, hypothetically, I go up to 11 mana, go get Reapings. I would cast Reapings floating 2. I'd have a new hand. That's probably fine. Plus Flashback Teachings. Get Reaping the Graves. And we want to target a creature that we don't want to cycle immediately. So normally you get like Street Wraith back here first because you can cycle it for free into a possible Songs that would make a bunch of mana. All right, targeting our creatures. So we're going to cycle this, hopefully at a Songs. I'll take a Dark Ret. Cycle. And doing it this way keeps the most possible creatures in the graveyard for a Songs of the Damned. Cycle. Okay. So I could cast Ploy to gain a bunch of life. I just don't know if that's really what the matchup is about. I've already played my land. Yeah. So should I cast Ploy just to gain a whole buttload of life? Yeah, I think I'm going to. Ah, and there's the song. Kind of a bummer. Alright, so we are at 25 now. Plenty of life. Now we have to discard a card to hand size. But one of the nice things, though, is that next turn I can just cast Horror of the Broken Land. I think I'm probably going to discard Healer. Maybe I actually should have kept around Architect because I can cast Architect and I can't cast this Vantasaur. So maybe I was supposed to keep Architect around. 25 life is quite a bit. If these horrors can bleed out some counter spells. Horror of the Broken Land. Hopefully its name lives up. So they do have 5 no permanent, so Scred would kill Horror even though I can cycle. Right. They have been counterspelled. So they have now drawn through their brainstorm. Preordain. Which I think means that if they're casting Preordain now, that they wanted the cards that they kept with the brainstorm. They put 2 on top of Preordain as well. 4 cards left in the opponent's hand. Augur Bolas. Lightning Bolt. Okay. Another Horror. I'm sorry, not another Horror. Another Street Wraith. And that one resolves. That's crazy. Maybe they think that they can bolt it to death? I mean, they can. But... Or they just have Scred. They also could have used Augur to put some cards they didn't want on the bottom of their deck. They didn't do that with Brain. I am going to block, because if they try to bolt the Horror, I can just cycle Street Wraith. Oh. That is what we call a combat trick, kids. They're Augur. Augurs for days. Ooh, so the Abrade will kill the Horror if they decide to cast it. Huh. Get in there. Okay. Cycle this Drannith Healer. So I could play Architect here, but it would eat an Abrade. I don't think I'm supposed to. Cycle this Baron more, though. They have 3 cards in hand, and one of them is an Abrade. A lot of chump blockers. Maybe I should start playing a little more conservatively about beating Scred and not cycle on my main phase. Just a thought. I'm going to go to 15. Okay. So they're down to likely just one piece of interaction, so I think now's the time that I try to get my opponent dead. Cycle these. All ritual. Wonder if I should pull the swamp out of the deck with this Ash Barrens. I don't hate the idea. Okay. This horror is going to be huge. We just have to beat one counterspell or one spell starter sprite here. So I need to find another copy of Songs of the Damned. 15 cards left in deck. I have to make sure I don't deck as well. That was actually pretty good. Got a red mana. So the idea behind playing Stinger is that they might counter it or hit it with a Braid when I go to cycle. So trying to give them the opportunity to mess up here. Songs? Ooh, songs resolved? What? That's wild. Friend, I think you're dead. Stinger, Stinger, Horror, Street Wraith, Street Wraith? You're gonna get dead so fast. Take some red mana. I'm at 7. I love Blood Celebrant. That card is so cool. Actually, just bought a Japanese foil one and it arrived at my house yesterday. So it will be soon going into my paper deck. And a concession. So we've gotten game number 1 over Blue-Red Fairies. One thing I've struggled with in this matchup recently is feeling like I'm overboarding. Because I want to bring in all 6 of these powerful cards. I'm just not sure if that's the right plan. Because they are all really powerful, but am I diluting my deck too much is a question I often have for myself. So I'm usually okay with boarding out these architects, keeping the horrors for the reason that we saw that game where it puts the opponent in a position where they have to chump block a whole bunch. And I'm okay with boarding out Tolarian Winds. So then we have to find 3 more slots, which is quite a bit. I'm actually not a super big fan of Duress because they can just let it resolve so they never have to invest any more mana. So I actually don't mind boarding out or not boarding in Duress personally. You can board it in, you just go really low on creep. That makes me so not a really big fan of that. And then you can either board out the 1 ploy or the 2nd teachings. And I think I'd rather have teaching. So this is how I think I recommend boarding for the matchup nowadays. Dress isn't bad, it's just not really what you need. And then there's really like 2 sideboards right now for the blue-red deck. There's one board that has 1 relic. So you can board in relic, or they can board in relic, I should say. But then there's another sideboard that's just like 4 wildfire, 4 hydroblast, 4 pyroblast, 3 sweepers. And if they're on that board, then shredded sails is absolutely nothing. So I don't know if I like boarding it on the blind or not. So this is how I would just default for game 2. And if you want to, you could keep it at 12 lands and like board out like a Baron more. It's an option, and then just have 5 lands for Ash Barrens if you want to board in them out. But against the blue decks, I do like just having 13 lands, reduces mulligans, which I think is pretty important. So I'm going to submit that. Unfortunate, no lands. This hand's not bad, though. Mulligan is well. I'll keep this. Bottom the pedal. And they're going to 5. They might be looking for the relic. Okay, they kept 5. There it is. Past the turn, no need to feed the relic. So something we can do, well, okay, well now that, okay, Augur. If we can find the mountain, we can just cast the Stingers and get them that way. Another option is that I could start their end step with a Dark Ritual, and then triple cycle looking for, you know, a horror or something else. And then we get songs into it. So they're going to have Dispel next turn. But I think I actually do like the Dark Ritual triple cycle line. Just hope to resolve a really big creature that they can't answer here. We're looking to draw a Horror of the Broken Lands. I guess free to cycle Street Wraith here. Okay. There's Horror. That's good. There's the Ash Baron. The horror makes, or the song makes 4, that's 5. Just trying to figure out what I want to do here. Okay, let's play horror. And then cycle this. One way to beat Relic. And I think so we have a pretty split number between red and blue cards here. I think I'm going to get the island, so that way in case I draw a Dispel, I can protect the horror from Scred. Alright, Relic down. Another blue source. I'm a genius. Gonna block? Yeah. You block. You would block, you coward. Alright. There's the spell step. I do know that they're sitting on their own copy of Dispel. The ninja? They do. Okay. So I could cycle healer here. I'm not going to. Another Reaping the Graves, not great. Let's cycle. So I could cycle. Oh, actually, yeah, I'm gonna do that just because it's 2 extra damage. Go get the red sword. Get in for it. I shouldn't have 6 when I have this spell in hand. So a little bit weak to red sword Scred here. The ninja's definitely digging them deeper towards their out. Beardane. I'd like to draw some cyclers because then I can like start just like value Reaping the Graves. Now they can go search up the red, so I'm in trouble. Okay, that's at least a cycler. Yeah, you throw your creature in front. Okay. Go get the red source with the Evolving Wild. Yep. Ninja's gonna get in. A little bit nervous about Scred here. So I have a decision. If our opponent doesn't tap the mountain, I mean, I want them to tap the mountain because if they do, I can end step cycle Stinger and then Reaping the Graves for 2 and bring back 2 cyclers is just like a really bad raise dead. But if they have the Scred, I just lose the game. Go on the bottom. Okay. So they're giving us a window here. Cycle this Stinger, and I can get it back with Reaping the Graves. So I can force this thing to die. But I can do it while playing out my Stinger. This is going to have a 6 butt. No blocks, huh? Okay. Bold. Dark Ritual. Off the top. Let's go. Dark Ritual. Or even a Street Wraith. Yes. Cycle Street Wraith. We might have them here now. They're going to 10. Yeah, they're just dead. Get out of here. You didn't block my Horror of the Broken Lands? What were you thinking? And they have conceded. So we have beaten Blue-Red Fairies. One of the best decks in the format. Let's see if we can get this last match and finish 4-1. Welcome to the final match of this league. We're on the draw this time, and we've opened up land plus cyclers. I'm going to try it out. Okay, hello, or Hellkid-O, or Hellketo. I don't know what your name is, but what are you playing? Okay, Swamp. I know Swamp. I'll match that. Okay, so they might be on Mono-Black. What it looks like. With Mono-Black, we do have to worry a little bit about Bajuka Bog. Wraith, okay. Question is, do I get Swamp here or do I get Island? I think the choice is actually Island. Because we don't need to cycle the Horror. I can cycle the Vantasaur, and then I have blue open for Ploy. Okay. So it's definitely Mono-Black. Cycle this Vantasaur. Cycle Horror. Looking for a land. Land. Ding. I love all the untapped lands in this deck so much. Just like being able to churn through your deck quickly is really nice. Like when I was playing the Sulfur Event plus Barrenmore list, I always felt like I had too many lands that came in play tapped. That's a Thorn. Songs. All right, we're looking for a Reaping now. Ding! So we have 7 for Threshold. Cycle this Healer. Play Ploy, why not? That was good. I don't think we need both petals, so I'm going to discard a petal here. Cycle. Cycle. Crushing this game. Ugh. 23 mana floating. Get it Reaping the Graves. Returners. We have so much mana floating. I'm not going to do any sort of like cycle hold priority trick. I'm just going to cycle once the cards come back. Because I want the option of playing Stinger if I draw into a Lotus Petal or the Blood Celebrant. Start on cycling Wraith. Their Cavalry is not bad. Another Stinger. Cycle, cycle. There we go. Party time. I love Blood Celebrant. This card rules. Like every time I play it, it just like impresses me. I can also make a blue mana now and flashback the Ploy as well. By flashback, I mean jumpstart. Cycle. Love it. Cycle the Horror. And now it's a guaranteed win because we drew the songs. But I now have enough mana to use the teachings to go get another Reaping the Graves and just off the opponent. But we're going to try to not do that. Make a blue. Jumpstart this Ploy. Get rid of the Swamp. Right, well, I guess I'm casting a... Really tried not to, but couldn't draw another cycler. Storm 20, Reaping the Graves. Not quite a grape shot, but we are winning with a 2-mana red creature that pings So it's like Grape Shot in a way. What am I doing? I just need to cycle one of these. There we go. Okay. No need to waste time. So we're facing Mono-Black. I don't even think we board. I think we just resubmit and try to win. I mean, you could board in these as a precaution in case they have Relic. Um, I have seen Relic in some of these boards. If you want to do that, you could take out like one Architect and maybe the Winds. Or yeah, I think the Winds because I like Ploy. It's good against discard, but also what is it called? Gray Merchant. So it's good against Merchant. I think you can board out a Petal and bring in the extra land for consistency, which helps beat Bajukabog as well. So let's try this out. And if our opponent does board in Relic and I have Shredded Sails, I'll look like a genius. And if not, I'll look like an idiot. So it's a win-win. One aspect of this build that I do enjoy is that you can actually cast your sideboard Shredded Sails. So in the other list that I was playing previously with Sulfur Vent, the only way you could actually cast Shredded Sails is if you sacrificed the Lotus Petal or the Sulfur Vent itself, and it made playing a card like Sails pretty stinky. But when you actually have lands that tap for mana, it's just absolutely fine. And I've been messing around with the green list, and I say green list, in that it doesn't play Pyroblast in the board or Shredded Sails or the sideboard Ploys. Instead, it plays Dissenter's Deliverance and Weather the Storm. Otherwise, it's the same list. And something I've gone back and forth on quite a bit is Shredded Sails better or worse than Dissenter's Deliverance when you only have a single forest in your deck? And is Dissenter's Deliverance even better than Wilt? So these are questions that I have. Currently, I like the Red Splash the most for Pyroblast, but it's just interesting to think about. And here we have a really strong hand, but no creature. I think I'm going to keep. It's just really good against this card. There's our Black Source. That was a huge draw. Because now I can use the Ash Barrens for blue for this Ploy. And the Mountain's considerably better than the Metal. Which, okay. Let's go get that basic island. And the consistency of running Ash Barrens is really nice. Just like always having the colors you want because you have 5 of them. Great. 13 lands in the Epic Storm, 13 lands in Cycle Storm. A match made in heaven. It's Cycle this healer. Finger's good. And I don't think there's any point in playing out the creatures, so I'm just going to pass. Cycle on their step. What is that? Okay. They've got a clock going on. Value Town. Population. Yep. Other rows. This might be my window to try to kill them. Cycle the whore, I think. It's technically better to cycle with the mountain because I do have a few architects in the deck that cycle for blue. Alright, it's looking like it's go time. 4 creatures, is that enough? I guess I can burn the ritual and then cast Ploy to dig deeper. Which it'll also give me thresholds for the Cabal Rits. Alright. I don't love this line, but it's what I've got. Another thing I can do is just like don't try to force it right now and just cycle a couple times and pass. So Turn 4. I should probably just start on a cycle in case I had a land for the pedal. Free to cycle. Really nervous about Bojuka Bog here. Alright, I'm just going to pass and hope I don't get bogged. Get a Lotus Petal. Pedal down. -1 Storm. Take 5 going to 11. You know that they have Rager in hand? Rats, okay. Cryptrats doesn't matter that much unless they're building like a Dark Ritual, but that deck usually doesn't play that. It's probably go time. Let's start on cycling the Archetype. Makes these add 1 more mana. And I'm going to burn... Actually, do I want to? I can just cycle these. I like that a little bit more. Yeah, I'm going to do the T. Use another creature. There we go. Alright, cast Teachings. Go get another song. Only makes 7, so it's not that much. It does increase our storm. Okay, so we have 10 mana. Is that enough? Stinger. Cycle. Can we pull this off? I want to find Cabal Ritual or Dark Ritual, something along those lines. Good. Alright. So I don't want to just like cast this Stinger because I could use the blue source to go get another songs, and I feel like that honestly might be a little bit better. They're just completely F6. Right? Go to 3. Architect. Pretty free to just return the street rates even if I don't want to cycle them at this point. We have 5 cyclers, but we can't use 2 of them. Unless I guess we draw a blue source, because then I could flashback the Ploy or jumpstart the Ploy, and then that would do it. And I believe we've got it now. Land. Cycle Dyna. I love killing people with Ash Barrens, so I think that's what I'm going to do here. End the league with murdering someone with Ash Barrens. Love it. Boom. How about that? Got that nice 4-1. This is the deck list. I mean, I did lose that match to Affinity, but I might have been too aggressive in game number 1, trying to go off on turn 3 when I might have been able to wait a turn. I'm not sure if that would have mattered or not. It's tough to say. And then game 2, we kind of just mulligan into Oblivion, so womp womp. But I really, really like this mana base. Out of everything I've tested recently, this mana base has felt the best to me. Let me know what you think. Hopefully you enjoyed this league. Have a great day. Keep storming. You're beautiful. Keep playing Pauper. Hey, Bryant Cook here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, but also follow the social media channels down below. If you want to support this content directly, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/shop. And if you need a little bit of assistance with the Epic Storm to get to that next level, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/tutoring. Don't worry, there's more great content coming right up.